Hey, what's up, everybody? TC Stallings, and you're watching Kendall Talks.
What's up, guys? It's your host, Kendall Tucker, man. And today's guest is a former professional athlete, and he's now finding success in film and television. You can see him in movies such as Courageous, War Room, A Question of Faith, and much, much more. I'm excited to have TC Stallings with us today. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Honored to be on with you, Kendall. Appreciate it.
That's good, man. Yeah. So, how's life been? How's quarantine life been?
Man, honestly, it's been tough. It's been tough on the front of the losses that I've experienced. You know, I lost my mother to COVID, and I
Oh,
lost my
really?
grandma. Yeah, my mother died on April 15th this year from COVID-19.
Oh, man. I'm
And then,
sorry to hear that.
yes, sir. And then 4 weeks later, her mother died. So my grandmother died 4 weeks later. And so, that alone, I mean, you can take away everything else that we've been dealing with. That alone really, hit me hard. My mother was 73, and it was one of those things that, we're just learning a lot about this virus right now. All of us all over the world, and it's just when you're finding out that if your elderly person is already somewhat unhealthy, that there's a great chance that the COVID, they won't be able to fight it. And my mother had a few respiratory issues. I mean, she functions and talks just like us. She walk around and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But her insides, she had some respiratory issues, some diabetic type stuff. And when COVID hit her, man, she was gone 4 days later. So
Wow.
it was just, that was tough. So that alone was tough. I didn't even, all the other stuff, honestly, I can deal with that. The whole industry of acting shuts down, and you just pivot with it. You just figure out what you need to do next. And but I can say, even with losing my mother and my grandmother, the fact that they knew Jesus, man, that helped to really just ease the blow. Because I'm like, really, if she had an opportunity to come be with me or be where she is, she'd choose where she is. So she's in better shape.
Yeah, I hear you, man. And I lost my dad a couple of years ago, and we were really close. But he was sick for many, many years. So he suffered on this earth. So knowing that he's in a better place, and knowing, like you said, if he could come back, he would definitely choose to stay.
Absolutely.
So that's definitely a blessing when you can have that, that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Other than that, man, I mean, this has been an awesome opportunity to get a better perspective of just other people.
Yeah.
Tragedies seem to bring out how people really, really are. And I gotta tell you, I'm learning a lot about how people are, and when when circumstances take things from you, how you really, really conduct yourself. And my children, I learned a lot about how the world works, and so, my anniversary was June 9th, 19 years of marriage. So that's sweetened the
Nice.
pot pretty good. And so,
Yeah.
so it's been a mixed bag of emotions, but we're pushing through, man. We just, however the Lord lead us through this thing, we'll get through.
That's good, man. So let's take it back a little bit. At what point did you transition from football to acting?
Oh, man, it was 2008. It was 2008, and I was literally coming off one of my best seasons as a pro. I was in Europe. We won a championship. I had 1,501 yards, 26 touchdowns. And I went over to Europe because I didn't get an NFL opportunity in 08. And so I'm like, you got to keep playing. And I didn't want to go down a level. Like, I had already played in the Arena League. It was either go back to the CFL or go over to Europe. I ended up going to Europe and had a great season. So I came back and I'm like, all right, these highlights are amazing. I'm in great shape. We just got to, see how the summer goes, see how the chips fall with the draft. And let's, so that was all what I was thinking. I go and see a movie, man. I went to see Fireproof by the Kendrick Brothers. And the movie just rocked the theater and rocked my world, because I'm just seeing the impact that a film could have on people. Now, I had a little tiny bit of acting in my pocket for fun, but I did not want to be a professional. I was more sold on football. So,
yeah.
But in that theater, my heart started to thump like, man, I'm like, well, you know what? I think I know what I want to do when I'm done playing football. I want to do this. Look at the impact in here. And I turned to my wife and I'm like, who made this film? And she said, the Kendrick Brothers. And I said, well, you know what? I'm about to start praying about working with the Kendrick Brothers. And so I'm like, if this door opens up, then that's a clear answer for me to know I'll just shut everything down right now and start doing film. And the
Yeah.
show that opened up a
Wow.
few months later, and I got my first role in Courageous as TJ the Gangster,
Yeah.
and I've been going ever since. So it was '08 for me.
That's awesome, man. So how'd you get involved with the Kendrick Brothers? Did you reach out to them or did you audition or?
Man, it was actually pretty crazy. So when I said that prayer, a lot of you don't just pray and then stand still. Like you have to test out what you prayed and see like how the Lord is
Yeah.
speaking. So for me, it was like, all right, Lord, if you want me to work with the Kendall Brothers, you got to open that door. So then I start pursuing them, right? I couldn't find them, man. Like if you try to Google this back in the day, like now they're my best friends, so I can get at them whenever I want. But
Yeah.
when you first try looking for them, man, it's like it's hard to catch up with them. So that didn't work. So I was driving on the freeway, and then on the radio, there was a commercial for the AMTC back when that was going, Actors,
Mm-hmm.
Models, and Talent for Christ. And it was an acting competition. I had never been in an acting competition, but they said that the Kendrick Brothers were going to be there and they're going to be casting for their film Courageous. I'm like, I'm gone. So
Yeah.
head down to Florida and no Kendrick Brothers. I'm like, what are Kendrick Brothers? Didn't end up finding the Kendrick Brothers, but there still was a competition to be had. So I competed and I got runner up to win the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was crazy, but that got the attention of Aaron Bethea. And Aaron Bethea was the one who starred in Fireproof. She was there. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there waiting to talk to Aaron, and all these news reporters are around her. And I'm like, as soon as she get done, I'm going. I'm just gonna shoot my shot, and that's the closest thing I can get to the Kendall Brothers and Aaron Bethea right there.
Yeah.
Somebody came up to me to get my autograph, man, and I turned around. And, I mean, I wasn't known yet, but this was from the competition.
Yeah.
This kid, I'm like, oh, cool. I turn and sign the autograph. I look up, Aaron gone. So I'm like, dang, I missed my opportunity to talk to Aaron. So I was upset. So I went back home, no contact with the Kendrick Brothers, didn't get to talk to Aaron, and I was upset. So I wrote Aaron an email, and it was one of them long ones. It was one of them emails where when you open it up, you'd be like, man, I'll get back to this later. This is too long.
Yeah.
She read it and said that it inspired her, and she's going to turn my materials over to the Kendall Brothers. She turned my materials over to the Kendall Brothers. Kendall Brothers called me back through her dad, which is Michael Catt. Michael Catt is the executive producer of everything.
Okay.
His wife is Terry Catt, who is the casting person. So she called me and say, we got one spot that we're working on, and it's going to come down to you and one other guy. We can't get you to Georgia right now. Can you audition via Skype? I did a Skype audition from my couch, just like we're doing right now.
Nice.
The room was filled with all of these people, man, and the Kendrick Brothers was there, everybody was there. Smashed the audition and got the role. And so that's literally how I ended up with my first film role. And I was in Louisville, Kentucky at the time. So it was just crazy, man. Next thing you know, I'm headed to the theaters. I'm on the big screen, and everything took off from there.
That's awesome. In such a short time, too. That's awesome.
Yeah, like less than a year.
That's awesome, dude. Now, obviously, it's clear that you're open about your faith and your love for God. Did you grow up with the same beliefs you have now, or was there a point in your life where you were like, you found God?
No, I grew up, man. I grew up with a healthy fear of God. That's about it, and a lot of habits. And that's a great start. It's a good foundation. But I mean, it's like anything else. It's like when somebody teach you how to train yourself, and you start off with push-ups.
Yeah.
If your goal is to get really big and strong and at some point you got to go beyond push-ups. But if you never know about bench press and squat, you're not going to get to those things. And that's kind of sums up what my spiritual relationship with God was like. I just had a fear of him and go to church, pray when you eat, pray when you fly, pray when you got a tough decision. That's it.
Yeah.
Go to church every now and again, talk. That's what it was for so many years. But when I got to college, I ran into a brother, and just sticking with the whole fitness example, it'll be like running into a personal trainer who's been doing it for like 30 years. He's ripped. Everybody he's worked with is ripped. And he see you talking about you fit and you still do push-ups.
Yeah.
And so he's like, look, you come talk to me for a little while and I'll show you what it truly means to be fit. So this kid I ran into on campus was like, look, let's study scripture together. And he had been watching me, hearing that I'm supposed to be this big time Christian, but seeing that I was living a life that showed I had no clue. And I really just didn't know. Like I was using any kind of language I wanted to use. I was chasing girls around. I was, just doing I wasn't doing what the Bible said in terms of how you're supposed to live your life. And he saw that, but he also saw that I was popular. I was a starting running back on the team. And he wanted to talk to me about how to really walk that walk that I was talking. And we did a Bible study in my room. He opened up the scriptures and just showed it to me. I started reading them and matching them up with how I was living. And that's truly where I made the transformation into being not just a believer, but a follower too. And I was around my sophomore year in college. So yeah, I had a healthy belief and a healthy fear, but as far as living it out, I learned that my sophomore year in college.
Awesome. That's a cool story, man. Now, a lot of people know you from War Room and other Christian films. Do you ever see yourself working on a secular film as well,
Sure.
or you mainly stay faith-based?
I will do anything. I got a criteria. First of all, I say, is it God honoring? And a lot of people think that God honoring means it has to be faith. No, God honoring means if he was there with me, would I have to like hide my face when I do it? Would I have to explain why I'm saying what would he
Yeah.
approve of what I'm doing? Would he approve of it? So I mean for that, like, man, I love like superhero films, man. I love Black Panther's like my favorite,
Yeah.
uh, a movie that had forgot her name. It was called Wonder. I just forgot the name of the two lead actresses that was in. Owen Wilson was in it, and Julia Roberts, about the kid with the disfigured
The
face.
astronaut.
Yeah,
He had the
he used to
astronaut
wear that.
thing.
He used to wear the helmet,
Yeah.
but it was called Wonder. But it was just about he had disfigured face, and the kids was picking on him in school, and she was teaching him that who he is on the inside is what matters the most.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful film, man. Selma is a great film. Like there's so many mainstream films that are God honoring, meaning they don't dishonor him, that I would do. So I would do anything that doesn't dishonor God, and so that's how I roll. So yeah, man, I'm wide open for those things. But anything that dishonor him, that makes it hard for me to tell people about Jesus, because they look in Scripture and be like, dude, you one of them hypocrites. You one of them. You don't
Yeah.
do anything. I will never touch it.
Yeah. That's good, man. And I believe the same way. So that's good. And it's funny, we're talking about faith-based films, and it seems like over the last few years, the Christian film industry has really stepped up their game. I mean, back in the day, you could tell a faith-based film by Hollywood film just by watching 2 seconds of the quality or the actors involved. Do you think the reason the budgets are growing for the faith-based films is because people are actually seeking truth nowadays, or their eyes are opening because of everything going around, or why do you think that they can now compete with Hollywood?
Well, if I'm being honest about it, I think people do these films for a lot of different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on my 22nd one or whatever, and it's like I've been blessed to have acted with a lot of different people, mainstream, secular, and faith-based. And I can tell you, some people literally just do it for a check.
Yeah.
And if what it is the budgets are just getting bigger because, like I said, the filmmakers are getting better with what they're doing, so they require better toys, and when they get these new shiny toys and it does look good, then you got people who are willing to do it whether they believe in God or not. They're like, so
Yeah.
I wish it was about the message, but for some people it is, but for a lot of people it's just like, okay, they're doing quality work, it's a check, I'll do it, I don't need to believe in it, I just want the work. So you get a lot of people, and you can find that out when you get on set and you start talking. The beauty of it is, though, you come for the film, you come for the check, you leave with a new faith sometimes. There's been plenty of times that people have gotten saved coming to these films just for the check, and you leave,
Yeah.
God ain't got your heart. Some people, they come, they do the work, they get the check, they don't even touch that. So I think what it is it starts with the filmmakers. The filmmakers are just deciding, we're tired of being called cheesy, tired of being called low quality. We want our films to do well in Hollywood. Let's start to just really put more effort into what we're doing. And so you got cats like, the Kendrick Brothers, who every single year their stuff gets, way, way better.
Yeah.
Where they start off with their very first film they did was a $10,000 budget.
What was that, Flywheel?
Flywheel. But then you get up to the war rooms of the world and courageous. These are, $5, $6, $7 million. So you can put more into it. And it's just because they want to do better. Now, not everybody is setting the standard that high for themselves. But again, to answer your question bluntly, there's a million reasons why it's starting to pick up. Some of it is just financial. Some of it is, here, let me shift gears. Hollywood themselves will do it simply because there's an audience for it. If I can really answer it, they did Noah. They did, even though they
put their twist on it.
Yeah, which messed it up.
Yeah.
But there's so many people who there's an audience for it. Everybody wants a buck, so people will just make it,
Yeah.
And I'm of the mindset where it's like, for me, my number one first thing is because I want to get the message out. My very next thing is I would love to be doing this for a living. So I'm not going to sit up here and act like I don't like to get paid to do it as well. But when the pay comes before the message, that's when you get issues. But it's booming just simply because, like I said, I think filmmakers are tired of being Christian filmmakers or faith filmmakers are being tired of being, labeled as, cheesy or corny or whatever. And they're just like, look, if you want people to actually give up a day, get through traffic, buy a ticket, go all the way to this theater, then they should leave saying it was worth it.
Yeah.
That's how you should make films.
Yeah, and I think it's important as a Christian. I'm a Christian myself. I think it's important as Christians that we do give our very best and that we show that we can compete without having to, scoop down to their level of whatever they're talking about. I mean, I think it's important that, like you said, that we aim for the best quality. We aim, you know what I mean?
What's funny too about that? I totally agree with what you're saying. And the thing is, I think people should just stop looking at it as, faith-based. I'm a Christian this, I'm a Christian that. It's like you're choosing the medium of entertainment. So you owe it to the people to entertain them. Like, I know you want to preach, you know what I mean? But they can go to church for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they can read a book. They can, you can't choose the medium of entertainment and not entertain, especially if it costs $13.50 to come and see it. Yeah. You should entertain them. And you choosing the medium of movie making. Okay, well then there should be a great beginning, middle, and an end. There should be story to it. There should be some arcs. There should be great characters. There should be great. If you can't do that, then don't choose that medium to minister. That's really kind of what it starts to come down to, is that we think just because we're telling people about Jesus, we can choose any medium we want and we can do it however we want. Well, try that with singing. Try that with music. You think God just wants pain, pain, boom, 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 and it don't have no rhythm to it. Or no, you got to be able to take years to learn how to play them drums and play the bass. So I think that's the mistake people make, is you choose a medium that requires all of these different components. You're like, forget the components. It's just about the message. Nah, because all of your failures with the components is going to kill the message. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about your new documentary, 24 Counter. Tell us the reasoning of the name and a little bit about what that film touches on.
Yeah, man. So, last year, what started off as just something that I just wanted to do on YouTube. I got this thing where I say my gifts are his glory. So I'm like, I got this book I wrote. The book was called Playing on God's Team. And it was based off loosely the story that I told you about what happened to me in college. And I'm like, there's a lot of athletes like me. And I had already wrote one book, so I'm like, I'm gonna write another book. I'm gonna call it Playing on God's Team. And coming out of my experience in college, my testimony, I came up with this thing where I was like, man, the game is life. God is the coach. The Bible's the playbook. Satan's the opponent. And I was just using these analogies within the book because I knew athletes would understand.
Yeah.
Then it turns out that in my mind, I'm seeing that team is defined as a collection of people coming together for a common goal. Well, that opens it up. That could be anybody. That's on your job. Y'all are all the team doing what the boss say. Your family, we're all the team. And so I'm like, everybody can use this book. So then I started using my book to talk to a lot of different people about what it truly means to play on God's team. So what it truly means to be a Christian. So the documentary started off based on that, as I wanted to illuminate and bring to life the whole situation that I went through in college.
Yeah.
And when I got to 2020, I'm like, I want to go ahead and make this into something that I could like promote worldwide. And I had people look at it, and it was like, it's like what we just talked about. Like, this ain't movie quality, bro. This is YouTube. If you want to put it on YouTube, go ahead. You want to start putting this out on like Amazon and all of that? No, this is not theater. So throughout then the pandemic hit, right? So now I'm sitting here, and I took that time to transform what was just a YouTube thing into a documentary with the pictures, with the videos, with all of that stuff. And so that's just the backstory on how I even got it, which built an even better testimony, because I was able to do this at one of the toughest times in my life. I lost my mom, I lost my grandmother, we got the pandemic, financial hit. I'm working on transforming and remastering this documentary so I can put it out and show people how good God is in the midst of this. I wanted that to be a part of my story. But anyway, so we go ahead and do it. And so 24 Counter, that is the name of a play, a football play that a running back runs. And I play running back. I ran that play in college, and we win the biggest game of the year against Kentucky. Everybody knows my name. But what people didn't know is what led up to me getting to that point. So that's why it's called 24 Counter, the story behind the run. And it starts from when I was born and everything that I was up against leading up to that moment, including Satan trying to win my heart by using football as the vehicle. So it's incredible, man. And the testimony is just, it's amazing, man. That's why I'm glad so many people are helping me cover it and get the word out about it, because I think it's going to change some lives.
That's awesome, man. And you wore multiple hats for that too, right? I mean, did you direct it? I mean, you did the whole thing, didn't you?
I wore every hat, man.
Yeah.
And the reason, and that's another cool thing about it, because you can't, I mean, you're quarantined, and you can use that as an excuse. This is what we talked about earlier about finding other ways and mediums to still do your thing while this is going on. You can't go anywhere. I'm in California. We were like one of the first people to lock down, shut down, right when I was wanting to do this. It was so hard. I mean, you can't go. Literally, the room I'm in now is just, I spent so much time in this office just like working on stuff. And man, I went and I transformed my loft into the studio to be able to shoot this. Pulled all the equipment upstairs to the loft and shot that whole thing in that loft. Did all my own lighting, did all of that, and then couldn't even send the stuff out. Couldn't even send the stuff out for editing and all of that stuff. Luckily, I'm pretty good with that, so I had to do all my own cuts, all my own edits, all my own everything, dude. It took a while.
Yeah.
But the finished product is so, man, what's the word, man? It's like, it's so fulfilling and so invigorating, because you went through all of that, and you're losing family members. I'm watching funerals online, because I couldn't to Ohio because of the pandemic to even go to my mother's funeral and then my grandmother's funeral. And then linearly, you're still working on this so you can get this thing out. It was just, man, so to stay here right now and just know that I'm seeing people sending me emails and leaving comments saying that, I've been blessed by this testimony of yours, that it's just all a blessing. So I couldn't be more prouder, man. And it also shows me that I can do it. I can do it. So who knows, man?
More to come.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know I can do it.
How can people watch it?
You can go to my website, www.tcstallings.life, Life, and everything you need is right there. My site is very informative on how you can watch it. The tabs are right there on the front, and you'll be able to stream it right there. You can rent it or you can buy it. And prayers up, because now there's some interest being gained, so it can pop up on some other popular platforms. I can't say just yet, but so hopefully that continues to work out. But it's stuff like this, and all these other interviews and these write-ups and all of you out there who are, commenting on it and talking about it as helping make it happen. And once again, man, I mean, look, it ain't a whole lot of money in this, but the spreading of the net, man, that's incredible. And that's
Yeah.
getting me excited. And that's why I'm saying yes to a lot of the different options that I have. It's because, again, man, it ain't about paycheck. Spread this net, I mean, so it's going to be written places for like $2.99 and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But if you can get millions of people sitting up here saying, hey, I saw this guy talking about what it truly means to be about Jesus, and now I'm sharing this with these athletes. So I just want to spread the message, man. And so
That's
yeah, head to
awesome.
my website, and it'll all be right there for you. And I look forward to hearing, how you feel about it and what your takeaway
Definitely.
is from it. Definitely, if you got a testimony, hit me back and let me know how it went for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to check it out. And for those watching, I encourage you to check it out as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, I know COVID put a hold on a lot of stuff going on, but can the fans expect to see any new movies coming from you anytime soon?
Oh, for sure. This fall, my film coming out, I'm really excited about it. It's called My Brother's Keeper.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I saw when I was, you interviewed Robert.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine, Robert Richard.
Yeah. He's in it with me. I got a chance to meet him there. And
He mentions the movie in his interview a little bit
yeah,
towards the end. Yeah.
he did a great job, dude. He's intense, and so
Yeah.
we got a chance to hang out, man, and talk. I got his number and stuff, and so just a good dude. But he's in it. Keisha Knight Pulliam's in it. Greg Allen Williams in it. Um, it's a nice, solid cast, man, and I'm extremely excited about it because again, it's one of those things we talk about. It was really, really well done,
Mm-hmm.
top notch, and I played the lead in that film, man, and I got surrounded by phenomenal actors. I always say to myself, like, I want to get one of them roles where I've always been a nice side item, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to be the steak one time, and I want to be surrounded by some nice side items. So it's
Yeah.
like that Thanksgiving plate. You got that roast, that turkey, but you can't do that without the macaroni and cheese,
Yeah.
and the greens, and and that's how I feel. These producers surrounded me with some amazing talent, and that movie is going to be phenomenal, man. So I look forward to everybody seeing that, and that should be fall this year.
Awesome.
Um, just trying to stay out in front of COVID to see whether it's going to be a theatrical or streaming like everything else.
Yeah. Well, I watched the trailer and it looked like a really well done movie. I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. So, last question: do you have any advice for Christians who are actors looking to get involved in industry? How to stay grounded, or how does any advice you got for those people?
Well, I'll tell you flat out, the number one thing is just remember who you're doing it for. Remember who's watching. This is kind of my life's work, man. Is to try to. That's why I came out here in Hollywood to begin with, was to make it in an uncompromising way, and I say that emphatically, uncompromising. And when I say uncompromising, I don't mean that you play hardball all the time and you're hard and difficult to work with, because that's not going to help you at all on any level. When I say uncompromising, I'm talking about, what did Jesus say do? You can't do anything beyond that. So in a paycheck and reputation and popularity are the things that you're going to be up against that make you want to compromise. And so you cannot do that. And so I came out here to as an uncompromising actor. And after 3 years, I woke up one day in the number one movie in America. And so that crushed the whole thing, that you have to be a compromising person. You got to water yourself down. You got to, be lukewarm and all that.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. So for me, my whole thing is, what's going to deter you from that? What's going to help you to look at a check for $35,000 per episode
Yeah.
and say, I can't take that if I got to do nudity and cuss and do all this thing that dishonor God. Even if you kind of broke, what's going to help? And because I had to keep it real with my advice, why would I turn that away? is because I opened up scripture, Matthew 7:21, where it says, not everyone who calls out to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only those who do the will of the Father. Many of y'all gonna come to me on that day and say, didn't I do this in your name? And he's gonna say, away from me, I never knew you. And then also in Matthew, it's just like, if you deny me before men, I'll deny you before the Father. But if you honor me before men, I'll honor you before the Father. So I stick with scripture, and I look at God being right there with me, and I'd be like, would I do this? Would I take this? And I would say no. And then I also look to that same God like, well, what are you gonna replace this with? And he replaces it with his will. And so I'm like, that's how you gotta be. And look, people get bored with doing the right thing all the time. People just, after they've been pressing on it for a long time and things ain't going the way they want to, they go ahead and start compromising like, I'm tired. But that's what Galatians 6:9 is all about, man. Don't grow weary in doing good, for you'll reap a harvest if you don't quit. So I just keep calling on scripture, man. The game is life. The Bible's my playbook, man. And so my advice would be, hey, Lord, what do you want me to do with my career? You lead, I'm following. Wherever you're going, I'm following. And you stick with that no matter what. No matter what. And that's it. And people don't like the simplicity of it, man, but I love it. I just follow him, and that's it, man. So that's for sure my advice. Trust him to open up the doors. Again, watch me go right back to scripture. He says, I open doors that nobody can shut, and I shut doors nobody can open. So you ain't got to sit up here and worry about who's looking out for me. Who are the gatekeepers? Man, God's the gatekeeper, man. When you following him, so I asked him to open the doors. So if you're looking at my demeanor, you're seeing that I'm really confident and resting in God being the one that's leading out. Look, God, who should my agent be? God, do I need a manager? God, I ask him. Next thing you know, you're getting phone calls from so-and-so saying they want to manage you. Or maybe you never get that phone call. And you're like, oh, God, you don't want me to have. So that's how I roll, man. And hopefully that makes sense to whoever's, wondering, like, how do I get started? Well, you just ask the question you should be asking God. God, how do I get started? Validate the calling. Do he even want you to do it?
Yeah.
That's how I roll, man. And so I'm coaching actors, by the way. Now I am plugging something.
There you go.
I got a group of actors that I'm coaching. This is great. You can, on my website, again, just look up actor coaching. Why? I Googled Christian actor coaching one day. Nothing came up. It literally said 0 results, does not exist. And it's like, I would have been surprised if they'd be like, what planet do you live on, dude? Ain't no Christian actor coaches. And I said, you know what? Then I need to start it. So I started Christian actor coaching last year. It's been going great. And it's 32 lessons, man, 2.5 hours. And I purposely made it cheap because this stuff is expensive. It's $99 for all of this. This stuff is like thousands other places. Yeah. What have I done? I've taken everything I've learned over the years, man, and that you can't get out here to Hollywood. I've talked to casting directors and all this stuff, and I put it into a program, but I tailored it to Christians and how we need to do it and how it applies to us. So it's really just everything that I've experienced. And then you go into my private Facebook group, and I continue to coach you throughout the year. So we get all that cheese out of there, all that overacting out of there, just everything that I know will mess you up. And I love doing that. So, that was a little bit of a rant there, but some of you, listeners.
No, definitely. That's cool.
Check that out, and you can get your help there, man.
Definitely check it out, guys. And TC, man, I appreciate you sitting down with me. Nothing but love and respect for you, and I look forward to seeing more of your work on the big screen.
Yes, sir. And don't be missing none of your workouts at that gym.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
I want to see you flexing on your next interview.
There you go. All right, brother.
All right, man.
All right, later.